everyone, and welcome to episode 151 of the 10-minute modeling challenge. This week we're starting a new little mini project. No shortage of those, and I'm going to be creating a new landscape, and I'm going to call it Polygonia or something. And as usual, that name might have probably been taken by someone else, so I'll probably have to rename it to something else. But it's going to be an open landscape, and I just want to create a lot of environmental nature assets, because I realized I haven't really done that. I've done the interiors, I've done a lot of characters, but not so many outdoor environmental stuff. So if I want to put together a little outdoor scene, I didn't have any assets, so we have to fix that. So I've been spending a couple of days modeling a lot of those. Well, actually, I started yesterday, but it's I'm on a bit of a roll now. I had to do some trial and error first, because I wasn't too happy with the flat shading, and I wasn't too happy with smooth shading. And then Nanite doesn't like if you have flat shading, or they call it facet shading, then it's kind of breaks Nanite. It doesn't really work. So you have to have smooth shading on everything. But if you do that, everything looks round and smooth if you don't texture paint it. So I'm probably going to have to create something that has like a sort of a 2,000 to 5,000 triangles per environmental asset. And then I'm going to be probably not using Nanite then, if in case, because I'm using auto shading. Anyway, a lot of words here. I'm going to be jumping in. Well, before that, I've actually remade a new mix of First One. And if you don't know what First One is, that's actually the song that you've been hearing in the outro over and over again for years and years and years. I've made that song about 10 years ago. It's called First One because it was the first song that I created in Studio One when I went from Cubase to Studio One. So that's where the name come from. And then I thought I'm gonna make a new version of it. So I've ramped up the electric guitars a little bit and changed the sound of it. And I'm actually really a fan of it. I don't really know much about electric guitars and stuff like that, but I'm pretty happy with the way it sounds. It sounds like, I don't know, some sort of a mix between high energy trance / metal or something. I don't know. I shouldn't even try to define a genre as usual. So, and then I've been playing, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring, so it's a bit of a mix now. I want to use some of my music assets, because I've also remixed some of my calm music. I'm jumping from A to B to C to D now, but I've been making a few mixes of my calm music as well, and I made those songs like 10 years ago too. And then when I remade those, I'm like, oh, I actually like the sound of this, but I need something tranquil to look at. So I actually booted up a video of someone had created an absolutely wonderful video of Elden Ring, just different scenes. You can actually get a plugin for Elden Ring that allows you to control the camera. It's like a photo mod. And then this guy spent like 200 hours recording some super cool footage. I'll snippet a little bit into it in this video, but then I'll put a link in the description to the real video, because a lot of people give Elden Ring criticize it, saying it's not really that good looking. I think it looks absolutely amazing. So I've been running around the landscape and getting a lot of ideas for different assets. So, and then we actually beat Rykard the other day. It's like a serpent, and I was really in the mood. So do you know what? I'm actually going to put part of my new track, the first one, but it's like the heavy edit of it, and then I'm going to put that to my fight with Rykard, because I actually had to do, first I trained a little bit on my own. So I'll cue that one first. Have a look at this one, listen to the music, and then watch me being an absolute noob at Elden Ring trying to fight Rykard the serpent. All right, so that wasn't the full track, and that wasn't the full fight either, and we actually did defeat him, but I'm not going to give any spoilers now. So now I'm going to be jumping into Elden Ring. no, into Blender, and as you can see, I've actually got a scene loaded here, and it's got a whole bunch of assets because I created... So these are just like mocking up here. So these are the ones I have been modeling. It's like different sections of... so obviously it's not like... It doesn't look like Elden Ring. It's more like Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So it's like sort of a stone-covered... no, it's grass-covered stones. And then here are some bigger stones in the background. And then here I've got some stuff without grass. And then let's see, what else did I do? I made some pine trees, some other trees. It's a bit difficult to see. I'm going to hide here. This one I'm actually pretty happy with. It's like a big oak tree. So I've created this, and I'll be doing an asset today. I'm probably going to do like one of the rock assets. That's going to be my 10-minute modeling challenge. And then I've done a few of these sandstone pipe pillars and stuff like that. And then I've put these together. So these are basically the same asset. So here, it's just assembled like the same one, flipping it up and down. And then I've actually changed the shading a little bit because I'm going to be making some stuff that calculates the normal and then applies a darker color if it's like a normal that's facing down, and a bit of a brighter color if it's facing up. So that's what I'm... Oh yeah, and then the trees I've been making both with kind of twigs or like the tree trunks, and then I've done the canopy, and I'm not really... Here I'm a little bit torn because usually I like to have like the leaves visible, so I don't think I'll be using the trees like it is here, but these are more traditional like polygon trees. So I have modeled some of these like foliage things over here as well. These are sort of a, I don't know, maple tree or something, and I've been testing some different shading techniques here, but I think they look a little bit too bulky. Maybe when I animate them with well-positioned offset or vertex animations, maybe they'll come to life a little bit. But I think I'm going to have to do what I did in Unfair Rampage and do like some sort of a foliage shader that has individual leaves instead. So anyway, I'm going to be modeling one of these assets now, and then I'm going to be bringing it into the Unreal project as a finish off so you can see what it looks like in there. So that was a lot of talking again for no apparent reason. Now I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock. There we go. And I guess I'll have to hide everything. Okay. Everything I said. H to select everything and H to hide. And then I'm going to focus in on the middle here, and then I'm going to bring a new default cube in because I don't actually have one here. So create cube, standard size. That's all right. And then I'm going to be putting my material on it. That's not cheating, is it? And then H select everything, S to scale it 0, and then go to grade there. And then actually I'm going to save this one. Cube 2, that's fine. So I've got, everything's running. Episode 151, a low poly rock formation in... Okay, my phone just locked. Okay, 3, 2, no. I have to say it the normal way. Ready, steady, go for real this time. Okay, so I'm gonna tab into edit mode, and then E to extrude, and then E to extrude, select a few of these, E to extrude, and I'm just gonna do like a basic shape to start with. And I'm gonna do something I'm really not that good with these days. I'm actually going to be doing some sculpting. I said the S word, sculpting. So this is going to be my base like that. Yeah, okay. E to extrude. Okay, now I'm going to press, let's see, how do I remember how to go? Control tab and go to sculpt mode. And then I'm going to press R to retopologize, Control R, and that will bring me these. And then I'm just going to start to like... hold, I don't know, which one should I use? I can't even remember. Maybe I'll use this clay one. Okay, I'm actually going to enable Dino Topo? No. Let's see. So I'm going to do like this. So I'm not a sculptor, but I'm learning. This is a good project to learn on because the more I do this now, the more I'll learn. So if I just repeat and do assets over and over again, then I'm bound to learn. That's actually how I do it. I just like do it over and over and over again until I learn. So I'm going to do something like with these like stripy things here. And then I'm just using the clay strips now. Here we go. And then put some on the side here and here. And then hold the control key. We'll flatten it a little bit so it doesn't look like too super square there. Maybe I'll use this one. Flatten brush here. Here. It's not so, I'm not so picky, as you can see. So just get some sort of a rock shape here, and get that one off the side. Okay, and something like this, and I can't forget the underneath here either. So I'm going to use the clay strips again, and then just do some some stuff like this. And that's the nice thing, you don't have to be too picky. And usually I've always box modeled everything, even rock formations and stuff, but I'm actually happy with this approach now. So something like this, that's gonna be, okay, this is still a little bit too chiseled, and that one too. And that's the rough shape now. So I'm gonna retopologize again, R to get this grid, and then go down a little bit like that, Control R. Now I get a little bit more detail to work with. And I'm gonna use this one I like, Crease Sharp. And then I'm just gonna do a lot of these like vertical like things, as like this is the type of rock. It's not like a sediment type of rock. It's got some vertical things, and then we'll just slice into the rock a little bit like this. But now I'm gonna break off this section here. Let's do it like that. It's been like chiseled off like this in some horrific geological event. 7 minutes. It's already starting to look like a bit like a block here. So something like that. Maybe I can do, should I do a tree at the same time? No, I should not. I shouldn't do that. So maybe I'll just get some more detail here. And here, get something. Maybe I'll crack at the top as well. I don't have that on any of them. So this one's had some serious issues here too. Yeah, I'm okay with that one. And then more detail here. So the more detail I put in now, I'm gonna go low poly later on anyway. So I'm gonna, obviously, like, you might think that I'm wasting a lot of time now, which I am, as usual. But I'm going to be rewarded later on when I do decimation on this one, because then I'll already have a head start on what we've got here. So something like that. And here I think I need to just flatten this one. I don't really know these brushes enough yet. So I don't know. Which one should I use? Foam brush. I don't know. Let's get some creases at the bottom here. Maybe I can use this one too, like on a rock face or something. If I flip it vertical, but I'm not going to spend too much time on the bottom here anyway. Do a crack there too. Okay, there we go. So now that's gonna be the base shape for my thing, and I've got 5 minutes 51 to go. Here we go, 5:50. Yeah. So I'm gonna press Control Tab into object mode, Shift D to duplicate that one and get a spare. And then now I'm going to decimate this thing. So go into my modifiers here, add modifier, generate decimate, and then 134,000 polygons I have now. I'm going to go down to 0.02. I want to bring it down to about, that's too many even, so 0.01. Now we're bringing it down into this low poly, but the magic is going to come now. So, okay, actually I'll do 0.02 there. Control A, I'm going to apply that one, and now I'm going to right click on this one and do Shade Auto Smooth. And then I'm going to bring this down to 15. That was a bit of the magic number. Now it suddenly becomes like this kind of a stylized nearly thing. So now I can go back into sculpting mode and fix a few of these things. If I'm not too happy with some of these things, I'm just going to sculpt like in low poly mode now and try to get some nice cool cracks going and stuff. But I'm actually really liking this shading. And the magic kind of happened when I brought down the angle for the automatic smooth shading here down to 15. Because then I get like a mix between like a low poly look, but it's getting a little bit more detail like from these. So now, let's see. Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty, I'm happy with this one the way it is. So now we're gonna put some grass on top of it. So I'm gonna go like this, Shift D to duplicate that one again, just to have that one as a spare. And then I'm gonna just grab the top faces now. So tab into edit mode, box select from the top, and then Control minus a few times. And that didn't work the way I wanted to, so I'm gonna do this instead. Go to the top and then find the flattest face I can. There, Shift G and then select by normal, and then I'm gonna bring the slider down. Something like this. Okay, maybe like this. That's gonna have to do. Here we're gonna put grass now. Okay, I'll go down a little bit more like that. Control plus. Why is it not growing my selection? And Control minus. Okay, that's gonna have to do, because I only have 3 minutes to go. So now I can't remember exactly what grass color, but I think it was down here somewhere. Something like that. Now we've actually put some grass cover on top there. And I should really spend time fixing, because some of these triangles are no good. Now I'm gonna do another thing, and I'm gonna select a few of these, and then do my Pixpal palette texture. I'm gonna bring it down to there, and I'm actually realizing that I've done this one a little bit too dark. So I'm gonna do A to select everything and bring that one down to there. And then now I'm selectively like doing here, and then Control select to here, and then G to move this one down to darker. And then here, this is just creating a little bit more like interesting ambient occlusion equivalents. I could bake these and do real ambient occlusion on my textures, of course. But there, G, and here, control select to there. That's okay, G, and then here. You kind of get shading in here anyway, but I like to make it a little bit more contrasty and dark. So control select to there, G, and then here, more darkness, G. Maybe here, these, G. 2 minutes 24. So I'm not going to be able to make a tree in 2 minutes, so I might as well just spend tinkering time on this one. Here on the crack, I'll do probably the same, G. And it's going to be interesting when I start putting some grass and animated like environmental and some bridges and things. So again, I was super inspired when I was playing Elden Ring, but I want to bring it into my style, like a nature thing into my style. So if I can get some cool looking environments with some color grading and some different atmospherical effects, and it's going to be absolutely epic cool, I think. I'm really excited about it. So I might do a little series now for the coming few episodes, and then I'll do different environmental objects. So if you have any ideas of stuff that could go into this world, I'm not going to promise that I'll do them, but feel free to put comments and suggest a few things. Because, but there'll be no shortage of things to do, because anything that goes into an open world could go into, could be made. But I'm going to have a lot of fun. Actually, if you, maybe for the weekly challenge in the Imphenzia Discord server too, this could be a theme thing, just like a whole bunch of assets that you could create. So I've got 1 minute to spare, so I don't really know. I'm just going to spend this is probably the most time consuming part anyway, where I just have to sit and manually color these. Something like that. G. And then I can't remember, I think I went down 4 steps. And then under here, we'll do the same. So select that on, control select all the way to there. So it's not like 100% accurate, but it's low poly-ish. I guess it's not really low poly, but it's low poly aesthetics. That's what I like. It's like stylized low poly now. And we're still using the Imphenzia Pixpal palette texture, which I'm super excited about. So no need to bake textures, even though I've got that. If you missed last week's episode, I've created a little baker plugin, and a lot of people have downloaded it, and even some people donated. So thank you if you did that. But that's not a requirement, of course. But it helps me buy coffee, which is nice. Super expensive here. Hint, hint. No, I'm only joking. So now I think, yeah, that's it. Time's up. All right, so in this 10-minute modeling challenge, a little recap, did sculpting, so that's new to me, and then sculpted this base mesh, and then decimated it down to about 3,000 polygons, and then I smooth shaded it, and then I applied this one, which is the smooth by angle modifier, and you don't have to add that manually. You can actually, they've created a shortcut. Just right click and do shade auto smooth, and then here, so if it's on 30, which is the default, everything looks super smooth, but bring it down to 15 and you get a nice little mix, especially from a distance. Then you start to get a nice mix. I think it could have done with some more vertical ones here, but it's not too late. And you can always go in and tweak, let's say here, and then G to move these. Okay, I've got proportional, like out of this world size proportional. You can still kind of edit these things now. GG, slide that on. So you can get some nice stuff, and then you can always do Dino Topo or something and get some more details. And everything here works too, like the crease brush here. You can maybe define new edges like this. So if you wanted to make copies of this object and create multiple ones, then that's cool. You can do that. And here's like a big crack going across there. Maybe that looks a lot better. So yeah. Now let's import this one into Unreal Engine and see what it looks like in our environment. And next week I'm going to do a tree, because I found that I could use the snake hook and do some. I was really happy with the oak tree that I created. I actually recorded some footage, so I can slice a few of that in. Do you know what? I'm gonna put some oak creation footage here, a mini time lapse, super fast, and then I'll put a little snippet of one of my calm music tracks. It's called Whisper. So I'm gonna let you listen a little bit to that one, and then watch a little bit of a time lapse of me creating the oak tree, and then I'll create a tree next week's episode. Have a look at this one.
All right, so that was me creating the oak tree. Now I just have to find out how to do the foliage on that one. But now I'm going to be saving this one. So let's see, we're going to name this assets. Let's see what I can hide this one and this one now. Actually, I have to unhide everything. What is going on here? Okay, cancel that one. And then we'll just see, I've got grassy cluster stone, large 6. Here we go. There they are. So this one is obviously not big, so I'm going to have to scale this one up to match these. And we're going to be talking in a second about polygon density, which is a thing. So now I'm going to scale this one up so it matches roughly that size. And then I've picked the wrong green color. And then my pivot point is off, so I'm going to press tab into edit mode, H select everything, and then slide this one up. And then I like to have it so it's not like perfectly flush, so it hovers. So if I do it about there, when you drag it into Unreal Engine and places it, it sort of snaps it to that origin, which is a nice point to have it at. So here, center it a little bit to there. And then now to get the same green color so I can match that one, I'm going to select this one, shift select this one, tab into edit mode, 8 select everything, and I can see here that I've picked the wrong color there. So I'm going to press G on that one and move it to that one. Everything else I think is all right. So this one, grab the name from this one, F2, and I name that one 7. And I've updated my Unreal Prepper plugin too. So if you have a bunch of assets like this, then normally if you export them to Unreal Engine, it's kind of picky with the pivot point. It actually imports it depending on where it is in the world here. So that's not so nice. And you'd have to like manually like bring them back like this and then export them. But I like to have projects like this where I have like a whole bunch of different assets laid out like this. So I added this little export individual here. And if I select a whole bunch of them now, but I'm only going to select this one now. But if I do that one and click export individual, then you can pick a folder, and when you export here, it'll just behind the scenes, it'll take this one, move it to the origo or origin, it'll export it and then move it back, and then it'll do that one with all of them, and then it'll name the FBX file with the same name as the name of this one. So this one will be grassy stone cluster _L_07. So now I'm going to be booting up Epic, and I have to just update this one. So if you want to grab the Unreal Prepper, I'm going to be updating that to version 1.1, and then go to my website, imphenzia.com, and then find the link there if you want to download this one. This is pretty handy. So no warranty on this one, and it could be a little bit buggy, but as I find that I need new features, I'll just add that one to this. So, and it also brings the settings. That's an important thing, because when you import stuff into Unreal Engine, you don't really get the sharp edges and the smooth shading stuff. You actually have to pick the correct settings there, and this one does that. And just if you're coming into this video and wondering what those settings are, I'm still going to say it. So if you actually try to do this without it and you export, the important thing that you do, if you're doing selected objects here, for example, is geometry to Imphenzia Pixpal palette texture and auto shading, do smoothing to edge, and then you have to do tangent space, and you probably have to do triangulate faces too. If you do those settings and you export FBX files, then you can actually bring them into Unreal Engine and get this sort of a shading effect with Imphenzia Pixpal palette texture. So now with that said, let's start Epic, and then my computer, my GPU can spin up and blow my socks off, because it's so loud. Unreal Engine likes to just unleash its fury on my GPU. So I'm gonna, even if it's just low poly stuff, it just likes to do it for some reason. I think it's Lumen. It's just taken every vacant moment that it's got, and then it's just calculating lighting or something. So let's boot this one up. Go into Polygonia. It's probably taken, so I'm probably gonna have to change that name. It's a bit too nice to not be taken. So I actually realized that's there's already a Blender plugin called Quick Baker, so I'm gonna have to rename my plugin at some point. So I should have checked that first, but I didn't. And then here we can see the assets that I've already put in it. I'm gonna press play first so you can see. So I've just dragged a whole bunch of these assets in here. So if I press F11, I'll do a little showcase first here, Alt P. So these are the ones that I've got. So that's really big ones. I try to just scale them up to see what they look like. And from a distance, it looks pretty good, I think. And then here are the Unfair Rampage kind of trees. So these are the old trees, but the foliage, I'm probably going to take this shader and port it and make it nicer somehow. And then I'm trying here, I've got some barren trees, and then here are all the rock formations. And then, see, that's where I don't really like the tree foliage up there. Maybe when it's got some animation on it, some wind, it'll look better. But I think it looks too solid, so I think it needs this lush look. So I think it's inevitable. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about polygon density, because that's an issue. So see, when I'm close up like this, I don't really like the look of it, because these are just like too big, these surface. Like this polygon here is way too big. It's like the size of the character, and this one that I'm walking on, they're too big, and it doesn't create any interesting shading stuff. From a distance, it looks nice. I like the look of that, like rock formation there. I like the rock formations in the distance. It looks really nice, I think. But it doesn't really hold up for when you come close. So I'm gonna see if I scatter small stones and I put grass on here and some flowers and maybe some different type of things like water and thing, maybe it'll bring it up to a decent level. I tried to scale this one down. So this looks more interesting, the one straight ahead already. That's a bit more of a polygon density, I think that would be due. But then when I run on this one, it just feels like I'm a giant. So and then adding more polygons, it's I tried that one too, and it kind of gets messy from a distance then instead. So it's a tricky balance, but I'll figure it out. I might also do some cube projection and then do some slight texturing and ambient occlusion. That might help it, and I might do some see if I can get some sort of a subtle stone texture. So I think that could work. But let's go over here, and for some reason I put sandstone here because I didn't have any small normal rocks, so I'll have to model that. And then here's the oak tree, and that I just took the leaves off it, but I'm quite happy with the way that looks there. It's got like a really interesting blocky look to it, I think. So again, it's the combination of the smooth shading and then blending it with the sharp edges that creates pretty interesting features. I tried having just flat shading, but it looks too messy. So I think it's really important to have that little extra shading on there. So let's see if I go up here. And there we go, rocks in the distance. I think that looks really nice. And then there's that tree. Here's this tree. I can actually jump onto this tree, can't I? Let's do some tree climbing. I put some of these notches type of thing. Oh no, I fell down. No. Okay, I'll jump up on this branch. I've got double jump enabled. It's way too floaty, like the gravity. I'm used to playing Unfair Rampage now, so... Which, actually, check out, it's going to be announced soon. I thought it was going to be announced sooner, but a slight delay, but the release date for Unfair Rampage is coming around the corner, so it was meant to be announced already, but it hasn't been. So stay posted. I'm gonna climb this tree. So here we go. Jump. That made me think of Criss Cross from the 90s. Pants back from front. There we go. If you got no idea what I'm talking about, that's probably good. Oh, come on. I'm gonna get up there. This one's scaled down too. So again, the detail level when they're like this small, I think is pretty good. So let's pretend I can actually make it this one. So it's so floaty. Okay. So sorry if you're like still watching me trying to do this. Okay, I'll jump onto this branch instead. Here we go. Woo! But there's nothing to find up here. I think this tree is about 6,000 polygons, and when I modeled it, it was like 300,000 when I sculpted it. So I can always go back to that one and like redo it with some more. I'm gonna make that jump. Never give up. This is me in Elden Ring, like repeat, rinse and repeat over and over again, because I'm not really that good. No. Why? Okay. I think they need to update their template a little bit, because this is so floaty. Oh, we got it. Okay, there's nothing to find here, so I don't know what I'm going. Let's go down here instead. So here is the sandstone instead that I put together. And then I put some barren trees there. Here we go. And then I put like a little thing, a column that's fell over there. I'm happy with this look, actually. It's giving it real nice stylized with these. This one actually looks nicer than the grey stone. And then I've got this one as well. Is some sort of like a limestone, sediment stone. It had some name that I actually named the assets. I can't even remember what it's called, but from I think like cliff sides, maybe along in the ocean or something like that would work. Or, okay, so I was meant to bring in the stuff that I actually created. So, and then here, I'll just show you what I'm doing. I'm just taking this FBX file now and dragging it into my nature folder. And then I'm not importing textures because I'm going to use Pixpal palette texture. And then here it is. And then we have to just change the material. So let's see, here we go. Here's the one we just created. And it looks gray now. It's because I need to change the Pixpal. And then we'll save it. And then we'll drag this one into the environment now. We'll put it here at the start somewhere. So there, drag it in. And then here's the nice thing now, because you can take the same asset now, and then I'm just gonna hold the Alt key, drag it, even just rotating it and offsetting it. Like, you can't really tell that it's the same assets necessarily, especially if you have a few of them and you kind of just mix them up like this, you could do. And then you can even do stuff like this. You can take it and flip it and then just use it as a rock side. And it's so few polygons that you actually get away with it. Like, it doesn't matter if it renders stuff. It actually culls that really effectively anyway. Now we've got like some sort of a scratched surface type of thing there. And I could even use this as a floor to walk on. So let's rotate this one down, bring it down, rotate, move it down, something like this. And it doesn't look so great with a checkered floor, so I have to change that one. But there we go. So now press play, and here's our new section now. Okay, F11, so we got full screen. And then here's our new ground. I think that works. Little rocky stuff. So again, we're closed now. So okay, I need to change the collision. But we can look at that. That looks pretty good, I think. Looks like a nice rock formation there. Press escape. The reason why I was flying in the air there, I'm flying through the air, it's because I need to go into this one and change collision to not that one. There we go. No, not that one either. Collision complexity. Use complex as simple. And then we'll save this one. And now when we press play, should be able to walk on that one. Oh yeah, the landscape, by the way, I haven't spoke about that. I'll tell you about that. Now the collision here works a lot better. So this is what I like with the third-person template. Even like the feet looks pretty good. Feet look pretty good there. So it takes into account like the step heights and stuff like that. And then here we go. Okay, why am I like in a letterbox? So jump. Oh, it's so floaty. I need to like increase gravity or something. Here's the crack. Nice. That's a nice viewpoint. Let's change the weather. Should we try it with, let's change the time of day first into like the dusk thing. Maybe there. Ooh, this is nice. I like this time of day. Lighting does so much. Let's go even later. 1766. Here we go. The lighting is a little bit off on those trees. I've tried to create like a light, like a rim light effect on it. Oh, I like the way the oak tree looks now. We have to go and look at that. I'll put some of my calm music to this now as well. I have to release that on Spotify, actually, the new mixes that I made. There we go. And now let's put some rain onto it. See what that looks like. As a final thing, rain. Okay, let's do thunder even. Can we get lightning? Maybe if I do night now. Can we get some lightning? That was the faint. Ooh. Let's look at one more. Yeah, that works. And it's day again. Alright, so that's going to conclude this video. That was a lot of fun, actually. I'm going to be enjoying creating a lot of assets now. Maybe I can release that as an asset pack too. And then first I'll do a lot of nature stuff. I'm going to be moving on to doing a little bit more tree stuff, some different type of rocks too. And then I'm going to do some like flowers and some grass strands and vines and all sorts of stuff. And then after that, I'm going to be moving on to cool props that you can put in, like bridges, hangy bridges. Again, playing Elden Ring, I saw a lot of cool stuff in there. It gave me a lot of ideas, different pillars, maybe a castle or something. And then I'll start to just drag these into this one and populate this one. And with that said, I think we're going to finish there. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And then come back next week and we'll do some more stuff in the low poly landscape, and then we'll populate it and see where we go from there. So have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.